introduced to like such a bond.
Yeah, because we're all people from all around the world.
Word.
You know, I have people from, you know, PR, from the Dominican Republic, from you know, Florida, and we're all in one place. We all don't have friends. We all don't have family.
I like how Florida and Dominican Republic are actually like really close to each other.
I know, like,
all over the place.
it's all like one. I don't know.
People from Austin, San Antonio, Dallas.
People from El Paso, Las Cruces, Alamogordo, everywhere. I'm like a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Driving around a Naval Air Station, North Island, tugging, you know, probably like more than that $3.5 million worth of equipment.
Word.
You know what I mean? Back and forth, and I'm doing my job, and there's 4 people that I'm like in charge of. So there's 4 people. When I got out, I was
Really? They let you be in charge of people?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Sponsored by Planet Fitness.
Sponsored by Planet Fitness, bro. I wish.
Imagine.
Yeah, that should be dope as fuck.
Yeah, dude.
If I could get any sponsorship, like that would be really fucking cool.
I feel like it's
for whatever reason, like
easier than you think, bro.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I mean, maybe not from Planet Fitness, but locally, yeah, absolutely.
Locally, yeah. Actually, I think you're right.
I feel like most of that stuff, people think it's so out of reach. Most of the time, you just have to ask.
That's true. Yeah.
Especially with local businesses, bro.
You do, because they just want ways to like put themselves out there too. And if I get a large enough audience, like I feel like I can 100% do something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, just the way that we started off right now, I think that's like the most successful live that I've had before a podcast ever.
Nice.
And I really do want it to. I mean, thanks to you. Obviously, you were a really big personality in there. Kind of outshined me for a second. And I don't know how I feel about that yet, but I think for this one, I'm going to let it slide. I think next time I need to see that if I have the same type of reaction, then it wasn't you. It was me.
Yeah.
But then if I don't, then I don't know. You might become a co-guest or something.
No, definitely it was all you, bro. I mean, it wasn't like announced that I was going to be here or anything like that. So, you know, if it was, you would have had a lot more.
That's true.
No,
I guess that's true. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, bro. This is really fun to have you on today. Yeah. Just because we've been homies for like such a long time. We even lived together. Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like it's weird with that live, like putting yourself out there like that on social media?
Oh, like on a live?
Yeah.
I've done it before. I did it. Dude, I've been doing it for a while actually.
Yeah.
Not frequently, but I remember when Facebook Lives first came out, like in 20.
Really? You were doing Facebook Live?
Yeah, bro. I actually have a live of me when I was like probably like 15 years old, just in my kitchen doing the we eat all the cinnamon and then you have to like try and
the cinnament challenge.
Yeah, bro.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
That was pretty late. 20 what?
20. I want to say 2015, 14.
2015 for this. I guess it's never too late for the cinnamon. I'm saying late.
I was doing it yesterday, bro.
What do you mean? Found out about that shit today. I mean late just because I was doing it when I was like in middle school. That's when we were all dumb enough to be doing shit like that, bro. But I guess some people just don't grow up.
Well, I mean, like I feel like I'm pretty out there on social. I feel like I'm pretty out there on social media. You know what I mean, in general. Yeah. So I mean, no, not really. It wasn't too weird
or anything like that. I think for me, when I first started doing this podcast, even my old podcast, I got really comfortable with it, like being on camera with the lights. But the first couple times it was really hard. Yeah. And then later on, when me and my co-host were like super used to it, I realized that my job was really like when people came in and then put the cameras and we put the lights and they were nervous. But like I didn't notice that at the first couple of times because I wasn't nervous anymore. I was just used to it.
Yeah, you're normal.
And then part of my job became just making people feel comfortable. So for example, I took a break, like a long break from doing this podcast in the studio, right? Mm-hmm. And then I had Iram and Adriana. No, not Iram. I had Lujan and Adriana.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And because I was really nervous, they were really nervous too. But then when we got into it and I got like accustomed and like chill, then everybody kind of eased up just because everybody gets chill like that. But you have always been like big on social media and you make TikToks.
Yeah.
How do you, like for me, I guess, one of the most crazy things about TikTok is not just how many people make TikToks, but how many people don't. I feel like for every like one person that I see on TikTok, there's like 100, 200 people that aren't making a TikTok that are watching that one person.
Oh yeah.
You
definitely.
know what I mean? So like however many people are on TikTok, like I'm always astounded by how many people make them, but like me, like I'm watching them, but I don't make them. And there's probably like a billion of me doing the same shit. You know what I mean? So how comfortable do you feel like putting yourself out there on TikTok, on social media?
Well, you remember the first TikTok I ever made was at the apartment.
Yeah.
When we used to live together. And I was like, dude, check this out.
Yeah, it was, but you see, that was different because
you
see, for me, I've seen more of like your more vulnerable TikToks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've
absolutely.
seen you're funny and then like you're more vulnerable.
Because I do have both. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
Both,
which I feel like it's good. Like I feel like we talk about like not taking ourselves too seriously. Like being real with ourselves, but like not taking ourselves too seriously. And I feel like the joking part of your content like goes a long way in that direction.
Yeah.
But I remember when you were making TikToks at the apartment, they were funny. Like, and we were making we were making one with Gomez and Lohan too, and they were funny.
Yeah, they're just like whatever.
Yeah, which was such a twist because I when I first got into TikTok, I was like, fuck this shit, like it's fucking stupid and shit like that.
Yeah, and that's how TikTok started though. Is TikTok started as an app called Musical.ly.
Yeah. And
it was the cringiest. There was Musical.ly cringe compilations.
We would watch those like,
bro,
all the time,
and they were bad.
Yeah,
bro.
they were really bad.
And then I feel like in COVID is when I got TikTok. Like when I downloaded TikTok and I started watching them.
Me too.
And that's when we all started sending them to each other and started laughing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I that's probably the biggest thing is why people don't make TikToks is because it can be super cringe and it can be super weird to put yourself out there and for
cringe.
people to see it and be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
like fuck this motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's super weird. It's like it's awkward at first because my first couple TikToks didn't. I remember I posted a TikTok and it got 3 views.
Yeah.
And no likes.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this kind of sucks.
This sucks.
It sucks. Yeah. Because you're putting yourself out there and it's like, you know, no one wants
no response or anything.
But that's where I kind of started leaning more towards like making more vulnerable content, stuff that I like, stuff like in the gym and I don't want to say I have a big community because I really don't.
Yeah.
I just have a couple videos that just happen to along the way go viral somewhat.
Right. Yeah.
But
you have one that blew up though.
I have a couple.
You have a couple?
I have a couple. Yeah. I have one that is almost at 1 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, almost at 1 million views.
Which is super shocking, bro. Like I'll tell you this, just not to interrupt you or anything, but I make videos for my fraternity. And I'll put them on my YouTube channel, like my personal YouTube channel, just so that just to share it with them, just so that everybody just gets a link and they can share it. And sometimes I'll see that it's like at 40 views, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I'm like
only sent this to 15 people.
Only like 15, 20 people were supposed to watch this. Who the fuck are all these other people?
Yeah.
But you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's super weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even weirder to think that random people and the TikTok that I made that went kind of big.
Yeah.
Is like it's kind of like local based. So like it mentions El Paso. And it's super weird because I was at the gym and the guy that works at my gym, he's like, bro, I saw you on TikTok.
No way.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, dude, that was awesome. He's like, follow me back. And I was like, yeah, sure. And followed him back. And I think
now you have a fan, bro. That's crazy.
What's funny
you have a fan.
Is he looks at me like I'm like this. Like
no
crazy.
way.
Yeah, he's like, and I get people in
Boy,
my Instagram
is he
DMs.
fucking wrong.
Dude, if only he knew, dude.
If only he knew what the
he
fuck.
would be like, and I get people in my Instagram DMs, random people, and they're like, hey, let's collab on TikTok.
No way.
Yeah, probably like once a week. That are like local
what
El
the
Pasoans.
fuck?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I like. I feel bad because I don't get to all of my Instagram DMs. Not that I have like a lot. Hold on, not that
this
I have a lot.
This fucking guy, bro.
I just not on my Instagram like that. Like I'm not like constantly checking it. So sometimes I'll go like a week without going on my Instagram.
A week without going on your Instagram?
DMs.
That's okay. Your DMs.
Like I just because I don't know. That's just how I am. Like I have a weird time texting people back like that on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'll open up my DMs after a week and I'll have like maybe like 10 of my friends like, oh, like that was a cool story, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll message them back. And
like a week later, they don't even fucking remember. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But I'll go to like my requests and it'll be like maybe like 3 or 4 people like, hey, like saw your TikTok. We should collab. We should make a video, like a TikTok something together. Yeah.
Are they like local people or just?
Yeah, they're like local people.
Wow, that's really cool. I will say that I do. There's this girl that I went to high school with, and she posts like thoughty like TikToks.
Oh, okay, like thirst traps.
Like thirst traps and shit. And she for some reason keeps popping up on my For You page for whatever crazy reason. But she has like I think less views than you.
Wow.
Yeah, because and which is crazy to me because you know I figured that content would be like a lot more popular. But like when I saw that and she'll like talk to her fans too, so I'm like, wow, if she's doing it, like this guy could really totally fucking do it.
Yeah.
So I just think it's really interesting when I was like, damn, this guy's kind of a fucking little mini celebrity, which TikTok will do to you. You know what I mean? I mean, even like as soon as YouTube came out and stuff, like anybody could just do it. But how do you feel like how do you feel about like putting yourself out there like in a vulnerable position like that? Or is it more diluted? Is the vulnerability more diluted just simply because you're not seeing these people? Like
I have I probably have like 40 TikToks in my draft that I haven't posted.
Wow, okay.
Because they're a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, I have like 10 episodes saved I don't. So I understand that.
But like why though? Why do you have them saved? Like just because?
So 50% of them is like just issues with the equipment.
Okay.
And then the other 50% is just episodes that I was like, like because it's hard, bro. It's hard, especially doing a podcast. Like it's hard simply because, like one thing that I notice is how prepped I need to be when I show up, and how seamless I need to make that preparation seem. So if I'm literally just going like, okay, what's next on the list, and then something else, it seems very robotic, very very generic, and also it doesn't give you the breathing room to have your personality, right? And that's what I want in the podcast, is for our personalities to like shine and for us to say shit. But I do need to have some sort of structure, points and stuff, or else I'm just gonna start talking about last Wednesday's fucking whatever the fuck. Exactly. Next thing you know, we're talking about super unrelatable shit that people just can't tune into. Not that I care if people can tune into what I'm saying, but the conversations that I want to have don't happen. You know what I mean? So I have to have that balance
like
between
some like. Even if it's just like a general skeleton of
exactly something like open-ended questions that let just like people's personalities and mine just shine. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that I noticed, that for some episodes I didn't have, and just the my guest or whatever just didn't really connect or didn't really bring anything much out of the conversation. So either it was cut short or it just didn't work out. Like seamless to say, just not seamless, but like easy to say, just didn't work out. And that's just not, it's not their fault, of course. It's not my guest's fault, but it's just not something that I'm comfortable putting out there either yet or in its entirety. Like I do have an idea of like making out of, because some people just did kind of pour their hearts into that shit. So like I do feel like putting maybe like an episode was just like 3 different podcasts and of like 30-minute clips of like that podcast or something like that. But there's a bunch of issues. And then the other half is just the audio didn't fucking work. People didn't talk into the fucking mic. I have like my first podcast ever, I didn't even press record. So we were I remember
you telling me
that.
Yeah,
we were here. It was with JP and my friend Paola, and it was literally like a really dope podcast.
I was going to say, it was probably like one of the best ones, right?
Yeah, it's not that it was one of the best ones, but I had it, bro. Like we had that podcast, and literally after that, I was like, okay, I can do this. Like I can do this. Like this works. Like I kind of got shy when it was a big studio, and now I had everything like for real. But once I had that episode, I was like, I can do this. Like this works. And then I get home and nothing's fucking saved on the fucking things.
All
and
excited.
They were all hyped up, and I had to text them right away. I was like, either I text them right now or I text them 3 days later. Yeah. Either way, it's gonna suck. Yeah. So I just texted them right there. I was like, you know what? We lost the whole fucking thing.
What were their reactions? Were they like?
They were upset, but they didn't care. Yeah. It was like, we'll just do it again some other time. And I was like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, another thing too is you're relying on other people for content, because you can't sit here and talk to the camera and create your own podcast. Absolutely you can.
Which I've thought about too.
Yeah, and you can. Yeah. And it'll work for sure, because you can make anything work on the internet, like legitimately. But when you're relying on other people for your content, all the weight is on you. Yeah. So if I want to like film a TikTok and I'm like, I really want to do this, I have this cool idea, but I need someone to film it for me, I feel weird asking someone to film something.
100%. Yeah.
I feel super weird.
Yeah. No, I get that too. I think, oh man, that's really cool that you said that, because I feel like I remember that's part of my whole like podcast thing too, where I was like, remember when I said right now, like I didn't understand that they were nervous Like when I told them,
Yeah.
when I would have guests in the podcast and they were nervous, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm already used to all this shit, so I would just start doing it. Some people are just not comfortable on camera. They're just
Yeah.
not comfortable putting themselves out there, or filming somebody doing something, like watching somebody else be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally, like we're homies,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never seen you make a TikTok, and all of a sudden I'm filming you and I'm seeing you kind of like act or like do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It
that,
can be weird.
That for me can be weird because I know you,
Yeah.
and I've never seen you in that position before. But obviously, for somebody, when somebody sees a TikTok in fucking Alabama, they don't know you like that.
Exactly.
They don't know that you're filming or
It's
something like that. So for them, it's just whatever. That's why it can be cringy to see yourself doing that stuff, or even a close friend to do something like that.
So right now I'm kind of torn because there's a very, very fine line between being cringe as fuck
Yeah.
and like being that guy that everything he has to do is a TikTok or everything he has to do,
Word.
he has to record it, and
Word.
also being like, no, I'm gonna do this, and everything I do, you know, to the best of my ability, like that. And I always think of this example when I'm thinking of making a TikTok.
Yeah.
The girl with the snake,
The girl
where
with the
her
snake.
snake dies,
Uh-huh.
and then she's like holding her snake and she's just like sobbing her eyes out.
I remember that, yeah.
It's sad. And
Yeah.
then like it cuts away to a video of this guy and he's like, oh, my snake's dead. And he like sets up his camera.
He sets
over
up
here.
his tripod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he starts crying. It's like, okay.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like,
yeah.
you gotta also enjoy your life, and you know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
if your snake dies, don't bust out your phone and
And record
You know
and like whatever. And I feel like when people break that shit down, like when you think about it, you're crying your fucking eyes out, but you got perfect lighting and you got like a good height. Like that means you set up a
Yeah.
tripod and stuff like that. I fuck with that so hard just because, again, I go back to the videos that I make for my fraternity and for my friends that we later watch and stuff. I like to take videos wherever I go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and pictures and stuff. I feel like it's the perfect way to just capture a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you'd be surprised how many people are embarrassed to like just take a picture with me. I got my whole friend group, all of them. I just got them used to me recording them and taking videos. I mean, obviously when we're comfortable and stuff like that, in a comfortable way. So now we take pictures whenever and we post them, and it's a lot of fun. And it's funny too because first people don't want to be in the picture, but then everybody's texting me later like, yo, send me that picture. Yo, send me those pictures. And stuff like
absolutely.
That. They want that, but it is kind of vulnerable to take pictures and stuff like that. I mean, some people don't have a problem with them. You know, some people are just camera ready all the time, and they'll do their faces and they'll, you know, like,
and they'll just
like,
vibe with it.
Yeah, like I'm taking pictures like for us and for me, but then some people are like, no, wait, hold on. Like,
See, but I feel like that's different though, because you do it for like a genuine desire to have something for everyone.
100%,
because you're not taking a video like of yourself.
Yeah.
Because like I know like you did one. Well, we tried to do one for like DSP.
Yeah.
And it was all videos of like everyone else, and you were
Yeah.
taking videos. And I mean, I think
Everybody
there was
else.
like one or two where you like set it up and then you took
Word.
video with someone. And
100%. Yeah.
So you were like, hey, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm never in the video. So I
Yeah.
was like, let me take a video of you now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Which
Like,
which I appreciate so much, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I show my mom those videos and she's like, "Where the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
She's like,
You're like,
"Where
how
are
do you think
you?"
this got here?
And I was like, "Well, it's because I'm the one filming." She's like, "Why doesn't everybody else film?" And I'm like, "That's just not what they do.
Yeah.
That's just they don't like doing that. I like doing that, and I like showing it off because I'll tell you, the reactions I get from those videos are so cool.
They're heartfelt. Yeah.
People really like forget about those nights and like whatever, but now we got them on camera and
Seriously.
they're edited to like a nice Bad Bunny song. So like now you're bouncing and you're having a good time.
Yeah.
But either way, I guess my point to that was, what was my point to that? I fucking forgot.
I don't know. We kind of wandered off a
Yeah,
little bit.
we wandered off, but still, like, just making content like that and,
Yeah.
and putting yourself out there like that. I can see, like, 100% when you say, like, the line of, like, cringy but also, like, at the same time, bro, like, I think that you should just be supportive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
yeah.
to be, and like, at the end of the day is what you have to understand is these social media things is you can literally become the CEO of your own media company.
Yeah, 100%.
You can become your own business.
Yeah.
Like you can become something, you know what I mean? And to do that, you really have to not care about what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Because, dude, if I had $5 for every time someone came out to me, like, dude, I saw your TikToks. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Like,
Yeah.
what was that? You know? And I'm like, dude, I'm just like, I'm creating what I think is cool, what I like to create.
Word, yeah.
So if I had $5 for every time someone was like, you're like a little TikTok star now. You're
Yeah.
like trying to be an influencer. I'm just like
trying to put you down and shit.
I know, like okay, yeah.
You'd have your own studio, bro.
I know, dude. Seriously, bro.
You'd be the host of this podcast.
Seriously, man. No, I mean,
I get it, and you know where I get that sympathy was me trying to put myself out there
Exactly.
like that. When I realized like all the things that all the negative, I don't want to say negativity because nobody's been blatantly like
yeah.
mean with me, but like don't do that shit. Like what I mean, I guess nobody said it to my face. I guess that doing this stuff myself and seeing how people reacted. Now when somebody else does something, I recognize right away, oh shit, like I was doing that, and now I'm just comforting and like cool and compassionate and like whatever you want to do, like I'll help you out. You want to film a video where you're acting, I got you, and no judgment here.
Definitely.
Because I remember when I asked somebody to take a video of me, and they were like, "Oh,
like making you feel weird," and then you're
making
just like,
me feel weird, and now and I'm like, bro, like what the fuck, like now I can't do something, you know what I mean? Like now it's uncomfortable for me, and you know, I wish somebody had like been like, "Hey, bro, I got you," and just film like whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, have you gotten any weird like responses or like any cool from your TikToks or like people trying to relate to you, people trying to like?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten all sorts of reactions, and there's people that comment on TikTok way too seriously, like ridiculously serious. I think I made a TikTok one time about me being comfortable wearing like 5 inseam shorts to the gym. Yeah. And I was like, oh, me being comfortable doing this, and then it was like a joke, you know what I mean? And then like, oh, like people were kind of like making fun of like people wearing short shorts. Yeah. And it's like cholos with their long shorts and they're like, nice shorts, fool. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like a joke. Yeah. And then like people would be like, yeah, dude, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, don't ever wear those again. You know what I mean?
Really?
Or like, yeah, they're right. Don't do that. Yeah, like seriously, like legitimately. But the thing is, you click on their profile and they don't have a picture, they don't have any videos themselves, and it's like, okay, yeah, like no one knows who you are. No one will ever really find out who you are. So you can comment whatever you want. Yeah. So I get like the hate a little bit. I don't think I've ever had anyone blatantly be like,
fuck
like,
you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, seriously. No, I don't think I've ever had that. And then I also I post my gym content, and I've actually had people like, dude, like you're like an inspiration, like
really,
like dude, like yeah, like I really want a physique like yours, and I'm like, wow.
And you're really just doing what you want to do.
Exactly, but I don't see myself that way. Right. You know what I mean? I don't see myself like as someone who has like this amazing physique or anything like that. I'm like, you know.
People tell me that shit all the time, dude. Like, Chewy, you're so awesome, bro. Like,
I want to be like you.
I want to be like you.
Yeah, dude. So you're like, you already know how it is.
So I know how it is, and you know, I'm just a guy. You know what I mean? I'm just a fucking dude.
Seriously, yeah.
That's cool, man. I think that's really cool that you're putting yourself out there like that. Maybe I did kind of cringe a little bit sometimes. You know what I mean? I'll admit that right now.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I feel like at the end of the day, I was like, damn, this guy, like when I would see your content and the stuff that you would, I was like, my immediate reaction was like, I don't know if I would do something like that. You know what I mean? And that's, you know what, that's crazy because that's exactly what I want to do in this podcast. Like we have those conversations all the time. Like we've had them a billion times. And really, like the reason for me to have this podcast is to capture those conversations on camera. Yeah. Now, again, like I said before, and I think I've said it a bunch of times, it's easy to have those conversations, but then you slap lights, a camera, action. It's a lot different for me to just bring that up organically. So I was talking with Luhan about this too, and how I want to have these like vulnerable conversations that in a digestible manner, like something that's maybe even productive for some other people. But it's hard. Like it's hard to do. It takes a lot of experience. So obviously, like that's why I asked, like, how comfortable were you with like a live and stuff? Because I could tell right away. Like when you said that the Facebook Live shit, I was like, okay, this isn't the first time that he's done something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it was the same thing for me. Like I had like 7 attempts before I had this fucking thing, this podcast. I mean, even at the apartment when we lived together, remember, like I tried having a podcast back then too. We had like the whole setup in the living room and stuff. Sure. Yeah. So it was.
You got the experience.
It's just experience, and now like I feel like this is the one that went the furthest.
Yeah, sure. And you have all the resources. You have the equipment. Word. You have pretty much everything you need. You know
which makes it a lot easier.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
So the vulnerability conversation. Yeah. Having these vulnerable like conversations with people. Yeah. Like, cause that's was my thought. Like coming on this podcast is like I've seen podcasts where it's like, you know, they talk about serial killers or they talk about science.
Too much researching for
me. No,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So like what's your aim? What's your goal with a podcast?
So really it's just like it's weird. So that's where it gets confusing. Yeah. Because I have a lot of things that I want to talk about. Like I have a bunch of topics, both philosophical, both funny, both controversial and stuff like that, that I would like to say in this podcast in a productive way. The thing is that it's kind of hard to just, I want it to flow organically. So it's kind of hard finding that medium. I mean, be like, okay, I don't want to be like, Okay, next we're going to talk about psychedelics and why I think everybody should microdose and shit like that. I don't actually think that, but so I want this, but again, I want the conversations to be real, just because of how much I've gained from conversations like that. But again, like it's weird because when I focus too much on that, on having vulnerable conversations, then I put myself too much in a box, and I realize that what I have to do is just let people shine. And for me to do that is me giving you questions where you like open-ended questions that help you just talk about stuff. Because you'd be surprised how many people I've tried to interview and they're like, I don't have anything interesting to say. I don't know what I would say. And then I get you talking, and 15 minutes later, you just gave me this whole content of things. It's like back in like grade school when they would tell you, like, when everybody was like, I don't like writing essays. Like everybody's like, I don't fucking like writing essays. I don't want to write. If it's an essay, I don't want to write it. But that's because you've never written an essay about something that you wanted to write. You've always written essays about, here's the fucking topic, write about this. Martin Luther King, talk about this, like all that shit. But then if I was like to tell you like, hey, write an essay about about fucking Fortnite, and you like Fortnite, then you'd be busting out of your ass to write about whatever the fuck you want to write about. You know what I mean? I remember I used to do that shit when I was in high school. They used to in speech classes. They used to be like, okay, write a speech where you try to a persuasive speech. And then like everybody would be like, oh, like abortion, like pro-life, pro-choice. Someone would be like, oh, energy drinks, are they as bad as people say? Like, whatever. And then I would have like DC versus Marvel. And then my teacher would get mad because it wasn't like because it wasn't like a productive issue. But the way that I would talk about it was because that's what I wanted to fucking write about. You know what I mean? And it was a lot more fun for me. And because it was fun for me, I was able to talk about it in such length and detail because it was something that I wanted to talk about. That you like. Now, the issue about my podcast when I have a co-host is, how do they get those conversations out of me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm over here learning how to get that out of you, which is not bad. It's not a bad thing, right? That's what I got going on, and it's not bad. It's not like I don't add my 2 cents in. You know what I mean? I was literally asking you about TikTok, and I went on a whole tangent. But there's only so much that I can direct that because it has to do with you and what you're comfortable talking about. I can't all of a sudden just switch it into, like, I've had so many people be like, what's your podcast about? And then I was like, oh, like, I do like to talk about like some philosophy stuff. And they're like, okay, bro, well, you got to let me know like 3 days in advance because I don't want to go in something that I don't know and I'm just going to look dumb in your podcast. And I'm like, yeah, of course, like I would never do something like that to somebody. But again, like you're sitting here getting interviewed. You know what I mean? You're not thinking about interviewing me because I'm the host of the podcast and stuff like that. So the topics that I have is like the other 50% then that it would be really hard for me to even get to you because you don't even know that it's a back and forth, right? Right here, I'm sitting here interviewing you and stuff. So that's kind of what I want the podcast to be. So getting a co-host, like when I first started the podcast, when I first started trying to podcast, I got a co-host and I thought that that's what was going to happen because they knew me. They knew me and the things that I like and the things that I wanted to talk about. But it just, further down the line, it became very evident that they weren't interested in tackling the things that I wanted to talk about. You know what I mean? Which is fine, which is good because they obviously had a very different idea of what they wanted their podcast to be.
Having a guest and having a co-host, dude, that's like
two completely different things.
You need to really be careful with who you create as your co-host.
100%,
because that's someone that's, you guys need to have like a special like,
and even like one of the reasons why now, I mean, if you go watch all my other podcasts, I don't talk this much or this deeply in them, simply because I was fucking worried about other shit. Like, so here, take this into example. This studio is already here. I come in and I plug in 2 USBs. I click record and we start going. So all the energy that I have is spent talking to you in a positive way.
And I remember the podcast that we did in the living room or in the dining room at our apartment. That was a lot of...
It was a lot. And it wasn't
80% of the energy was going towards setting up, figuring out camera angles. The cameras were turning off. They wouldn't stay on for 30 more than 30 minutes.
Somebody had to be pressing them and shit like that. Like, just finding a space, setting up. By the time that I was record, and then I was still expected to do all the shit that I'm doing right now, super tough. And not only that is I needed a cameraman and a co-host and a guest. Plus me, that was 4 schedules that we had to work around. So literally here, I record same day every week because I reserved it. If I'm here by myself, fuck it, like I'll do a solo one. But now I just have to work with my schedule, which is always set, and then someone else's schedule. Can you come? Can you not? If not, then I'll switch people through different days. So that's even that gets kind of tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
But now I just show up and I do this. So all my energy, I can spend it in developing just questions. Like all that stuff about like developing questions, coming up with the skeleton for the podcast, opening the questions. I came up with that shit when I started doing this because now I had so much energy to just think about all this other stuff, to worry about the real issues, which was, what are we going to talk about? Am I getting the content that I want? A lot of the times I would record for like an hour, and then when I would watch it, I would be like, I didn't talk about anything that I wanted to talk about. And then sometimes I was even like holding on to specific topics, because I was like, I want this in this specific episode. I want this over here. But that was a symptom of me just not having enough shit. Yeah. Me trying to save it for like other days. And so that limited me into what I could talk about and what I wanted to say. Sure. Well, no, you got to give it all out in every single episode. That means that when you're not recording, you need to just come up with everything else. Like you need to have a lot of content already, or absorb a lot of content from different places, so that you can make every single episode really fucking cool. Because I like to look back at these fucking episodes, and I don't want to feel myself holding back or not making it as entertaining as I could have been, just because I'm saving it. Kind of like those shirts that you never wear because you think you're going to wear them in like a special occasion, but then you just never fucking wear them. And you realize that you could have just worn them this whole time and looked fucking cool. Something like that. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, no, fair enough. No, I get that. So going back to the vulnerability conversation.
Yeah.
Are you a believer that every single person in this world has something to say, or do you not?
No, I do.
You do believe that?
I 100% believe that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, and the reson why I asked that is because I've always thought, probably within like the greater part of 8 years.
Yeah.
I've always thought that someone has something to say. The super quiet person, if you talk to them and if you ask them enough questions, they always have something to say. Because obviously you're always in your mind. You're always thinking about things. There's things that they like that they don't get to talk about because no one talks to them enough.
Right.
But recently it's changed.
Okay.
It's just changed. That's it. I mean, I say that
recently,
because
fuck these motherfuckers.
Honestly, bro, some people are and it might just be they're just very hard to talk to.
I believe you, bro.
But now I'm starting to believe that not 100% of the world's population has something to say or has an opinion to give. Because, dude, I mean, and it might just be because they're young, but going to school with some of these, 18, 19-year-old kids, it's like the teacher asks them, well, introduce yourself. And then it's like, well, who are you? And that's essentially what they're asking is, who are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have no idea.
No clue.
No clue about who they are.
Yeah.
So it's not that they don't have something to say, they just don't have something to say yet.
Yeah.
They haven't maybe lived enough. Yeah. They haven't had enough experience to say, hey, my name's Lechuga and I'm an alcoholic. You know what I mean?
I've been a day sober my life. So I think like every simple question, it has a very complicated answer. Okay. Simply because of the fact that, do people have a lot to say? Yeah, they do. Do I think that everybody has a lot to say? Yeah, I do. Do they know how to interpret their own emotions or their own feelings? No.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
No, that's why, dude. That's one of the most important things of one of the things that I learned. I mean, I've dealt with people so much, bro. I've dealt with people in retail. I've dealt with people in organizations, planning things together. I've dealt with people I don't know, trying to interpret their own ideas. I've dealt with all kinds of people in all kinds of different ways. In psychedelics and fucking bars and shit.
All around, everywhere. Yeah, all around. You're a talkative person. You talk. Yeah,
I'm a talkative person. And you'd be surprised how many people like to talk about me just because I make it all about them. Now, that's fun for me because I like to learn about you and all this stuff. And through learning about you, you get to learn how I think too, right? Because we're talking about things and I'm giving you my perspective. Mm-hmm. My perspective of vulnerability and acceptance has always something that has resonated with people hardcore. Mm-hmm. Like with Rodrigo, like hardcore, we resonated with that shit because I remember I would say shit and he was like, that's really cool that you said that. Like, because in high tense situations, and somebody that was understanding is like such a breath of fresh air and comforting. There's really... nobody teaches you how to interpret your own feelings, how to.
It's so true. Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody teaches you that shit. Like everybody's so quick to tell you how you should act and what you should think, but nobody really like tackles those really deep, vulnerable questions of like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Or what am I supposed to do? Why do I feel like this? I don't feel like
what is reality?
Exactly. Yeah. Like why are we behaving the way that we're behaving? So I remember, for example, Aguirre, his brother. he has a younger brother, and I remember he was like, "Hey, bro, like we should hang out with him. Let's go take him to do something."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck yeah, bro! Like we'll go." So we took him to a bar. We took him to Keg. The thing is that he was just eating food, so they just kind of let us. I mean, they also knew us, so like it was fine.
Yeah.
He said something about an upcoming Marvel movie. So and I talked about something in the comic books. And then he also said something that I knew wasn't from a Marvel movie. It was from a comic book about one of the superheroes that was in the movie. Mm-hmm. So I started talking to him about comic books. For like 2 hours, we just talked about comic books. And then when Agir and I dropped him off, so to me, like just social, right? Like just a social kid.
Yeah.
We get home, Agir's like, that's the most I've ever talked to my brother. Like,
wow.
Like yeah. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And surprisingly enough, it was because it wasn't about him. Like, it wasn't about him. It was about superheroes. It was about like the essay that I told you. He was talking about something that he liked. I don't know why it always leads back to superheroes with me.
Yeah.
But it's about it's about something that you like. So one of the best trips to get to know somebody is to ask them about the things that they know.
Yeah.
So for example, I could ask somebody who goes to the gym a lot. I could ask them about working out, and they're delighted to tell everybody.
Absolutely, yeah,
everybody has something that they want to talk about, an interest or something. Again, a lot of those interests sometimes they don't talk about them because they're not that popular, right? Like anime. Like a lot of people who act weird because of anime, they don't want to talk about it because they get teased about it, right? So like,
I'm so sorry, bro.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just a regular thing. Things that people are like, things that you would talk about, and people are like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck. Like, that's a horrible reaction to have to something that somebody's trying to say.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because you just shut them off. Like, you just shut them off. So, it's number one. So, obviously, when you ask me that, do people have something to say? It's a very simple question. But the answer is super complicated because it's like, are you asking them about things that they want to talk about?
Yeah.
And are you having the patience with things that maybe don't interest you?
And that's what's next, though. And that's what's like, okay, so maybe people do have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Can you be the person to extract that and grab a hold of it and run with it? You know what I mean?
Think about this. Are you willing to have a conversation about something that you're not interested in?
That's a huge
You know what
one.
I mean?
And I'm gonna be honest with you, no.
Yeah, fuck that
No.
shit. Yeah, like one of the coolest things that I watch on YouTube all the time is experts react. Like expert archer reacts to this. Expert like wrestler,
Navy SEAL reacts
to this. Yeah. The thing that I like about those so much is that number one, I learned so much like about hunters, right? Like I didn't even fucking know, but like when hunters are hunting. When hunters be hunting, they were talking about just the smell of a human in the middle of the fucking forest and how a deer can catch on to that, and how at certain times of the day when the temperature falls, the air moves differently. So if you're above the deer and the temperature falls, the air falls or whatever the fuck, the air will carry your scent down the mountain and the deer will catch on to that and they will move the fuck away. Like stuff like that is just super interesting things to
random,
to just know, right? So I watch those because of that. Now, another thing is just hearing the Lexus, like just these lingos, these things that people say, right? Like, oh, what's like if I was to like say like, oh shit, like score streak to somebody that plays Call of Duty, like they know what the fuck I'm talking about. They know it's like you get a bunch of kills online without dying, you get a certain thing, a certain power or something. But if I was to say that around my family, they don't know what that is. So when you watch those videos, you hear doctors, you hear hunters, you hear archers, shooters talk in these lingos and these things, and you understand them because they explain them to you.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing, right? Like I've talked about this before so one was, can you have a conversation about something that you're not interested in? And do these people know how to interpret their own feelings and emotions and stuff like that? Yeah. Another one is, I guess it's also an interpersonal one, but do you have the patience and do you have the ability to simplify something that's important to you that you know a lot about to somebody who doesn't know anything about them and not make them feel stupid?
And that's getting into more complex conversation. And I say that because at that point you're going back and forth. You're talking about things. Yeah. And now you're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. This is what I'm into. Right. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say no to, can I talk about something that I'm not interested in? Yeah. I don't mean that literally.
No, I know.
Like
I know,
I'm not gonna be at the
I
bar.
wouldn't have you in this podcast if I did. If I thought you meant to.
Yeah, literally. No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I will say it's a little tough though because I'm the type of person that will that will kind of like reciprocate your energy. So if I'm in a room with someone and they're giving me very low energy, I won't reciprocate.
Right.
I'll reciprocate low energy back.
Right.
But if you're in a room and someone busts in a room and they're like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" I'm gonna be like, "Hey, how are you, bro? Like, good to see you." Yeah. But that's how I am. Yeah. And I know you're not like that because me and my brother were having this conversation the other day. Actually, we were having it last night.
Yeah.
About people who, there's that one person who when they're in a room, they can bring everyone together and they talk and they can have a conversation.
Right.
And they can leave and everyone's like, you know what I mean? And there are those types of people. And,
right.
and we were having this conversation because like, I was like, I don't want to go to this function because I don't want to have to be the person to bring everyone together because once I'm like, okay, I'm done talking, let's hear what everyone else has to say. Everyone's like, yeah, they're just like looking at me like, and for me, the reason why I say that is because it can get a little exhausting.
I was about to say that, bro.
Yeah, it can. But I think once you get to that person that you're like, okay, this person actually has something to say. Yeah. Like, dang, like I didn't know that you skydive on your free time. Right. That's crazy. I actually didn't know that at all. Like, how do you do that?
Like how the fuck do you do that shit?
You were quiet for the last 30 minutes and all of a sudden you're a professional skydiver.
100%.
It's more rewarding than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it turns something exhausting into something energizing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will tell you that right now, bro, that it is fucking exhausting. Like, but again, it doesn't have to be, because there's exhausting in a bad way and then there's exhausting in a good way. So
True.
For example, let me give you an example. Okay. I remember when I was working retail and I was in the register, I just got too autonomous with my system. Like I was literally just bringing shit in, scan it. Hi, how you doing?
Super easy.
Who helped you out? Like whatever. I was doing that shit like 7 hours a day for my shift, right? So it just got super autonomous. And I remember, I hated it. I mean, not that I hated it to the point that I was like, fuck this shit. Like, it was just exhausting. It was work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember my manager came in and he was like, hey, like, talk to people. Like,
yeah, change it up.
Yeah, like, change it up. Like, look at them, talk to them, point something out, like, just whatever. And he made an example about my brother because my brother used to work with me. And he was like, Mexico's playing that's next Sunday. And to every single customer, he said the same shit. Like, he was like, hey, well, my mom's making like my favorite meal because of the Mexico game. So I'm super hyped to get out of work and go home. He said that shit to everybody, and literally everybody came up with something too. They were like, oh, hell yeah, dude, Mexico, like whatever, because everybody was interested in that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an Adidas store in El Paso, Texas, so obviously they like soccer.
Fair enough.
And he told me, he's like, my manager was like, I've heard that shit like 200 times today, and it's exhausting as fuck. But he's making every customer laugh, and he's laughing too. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, okay. So then he was like, just make conversations with people, like because I was trying to be trained for like a manager position. That's why he was like hawking me and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so for like the next 30 minutes or to like hour 30, every single person that came, I made a conversation with them. Like I made them laugh, or I made myself laugh, or like whatever, right? And it made the experience a lot more enjoyable. It was a lot more, time went by faster. I was getting to just talk to these people instead of just my autonomous. I was already having a bad time, so there was nothing I could lose, right? Now, time went by faster, and I did have a better time. But I was exhausted still. I was still tired.
Not physically exhausted, but
just drained, right? So there's one way or another, bro. Like you said, like I don't want to be the one at the function to bring everybody together and like do this and like do this, right? Okay, you're right. It is exhausting because it really is. Yeah. But if you don't do it, it's just as bad. You know what I mean? Just like when I was just autonomously doing this shit, like it was already bad, and now I was putting myself out there like whatever, and it sucks. So people are tough nuts to crack, bro. I've had some really tough nuts to crack, but you do it and you realize that like it's just a lot better when you get everybody comfortable and like whatever. And obviously like you get to one person and that person infects the other one, and all of a sudden everybody. But again, at the same time, bro, I don't do it if I don't want to do it. There's been times because I don't want to exhaust myself in that way. Sometimes you have to pick your battles, bro. Like, is this worth it? Fuck no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm just not doing it. But again, like I don't have to stick around in these environments. Like I think that's one of the cooler things that I've done when I developed this type of thinking, like whatever, is that I really did block out or push away stuff that I don't want to go to, like things that I don't want to do, people that I don't want to hang out with. I have the confidence now to just be like, you know what, I'm not going because I don't have a good time when I'm with these people. And that's another thing when it comes to just making people talk about the things that they like and stuff like that. Like, it's just, people aren't aware of that stuff. You aren't aware that any conversation that you're having could be a life-changing conversation.
Exactly.
Or a life-changing person, or you can make some sort of connection, right? You're not aware of that because like I was bagging groceries, this disconnect between people is just monotonous to you. You don't see these people as like actual people. You just see them as NPCs that are just part of your fucking
coming
day,
through, and you're never going to see them again.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So when you were able to tap into that stuff, and again, like at first it's hard, just like any test, just like driving, right? At first it was hard. You were paying attention to fucking everything. You didn't know the speed limits. You didn't know how hard to press the motherfucker. You didn't know how hard it was to get a smooth brake and shit like that. But then afterwards, you just don't think about it.
Cheeseburger.
Now you're eating a fucking cheeseburger, texting a motherfucker and shit.
Yeah.
There's people that I know for a fact that they're driving and they respond surprisingly fast, and it scares the fuck out of me, bro.
Yeah.
Bad driving in general scares the fuck out of me. I stopped putting songs, like play next, like looking up songs and play next.
Oh yeah.
Just because in my head I was like, not like this, bro. Like I'm not dying like this.
I'm
not dying. I'm really not gonna die because I was trying to queue up a song, bro. Like not like this. So at least I stopped that. I was
good
like,
for you, bro. It's not worth it because you can get really, really comfortable.
Yeah, you can. Like people who are like, yeah, I can text and drive. Like that, they scare the fuck out of me, bro. I'm like, because it's really not about you. It's also about other people fucking up and you not being able to react to shit like that.
Seriously.
But again, when you're able to do something like that, bro, you just become like a beacon for people to like.
Yeah.
Which you also have to be careful because some people will try to take your time and shit like that.
And I will say, it is something that you can learn.
Yeah.
It truly is. Yeah. It's a skill, bro.
Yeah,
communication
for sure.
is a skill.
100%. Yeah.
Because when I was 19, I actually saw myself, and we live together, but I can become super antisocial. I can go the entire day without talking to people, and I'm totally fine with it. But I didn't want to be that. So when I was 19, I had this idea, and I was like, I'm not.
This idea that would change everything.
This idea that would just change the world. Yeah. I was like, I'm not the social person that I want to be. Because I would see people, and I would see how social they are, and they would make people laugh, and they would enter a room, and they would just glow. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was like, I want this skill to be able to do that. Word. So, true story. I would go to Walmart, not like specifically out of my way to go to Walmart, but every time I went to Walmart, I wouldn't be able to leave until I at least looked and made eye contact and smiled at 5 people.
Really?
Yes, bro. So I went to Walmart and I was like,
next thing you know, like there's no more people around, and then like, and then there's like reports on like TV that like, yo, some random guys just like smiling and like trying to talk to people at Walmart. Everybody fucking, they call the cops. And
security's like taking me out.
Like, you see like little dots on your like chest and shit. Like the snipers are trained on you. What the fuck?
Everyone's fucking out, dude. I walk out, they're surrounded with SWAT teams out there.
But so how did that work? Like, what would you talk to them about? How would you?
So I could not, for the life of me, have a conversation with a random person. So I had this friend in San Diego, and he was like the coolest dude. He would be like, dude, did you just come from surfing? Because the guy was like in shorts and flip-flops. He's like, yeah. He's like, dude, like, oh, did you catch any waves? Like, how's this well right now? Like, and they would just start talking. And the other guy would be like, let me get your Instagram, bro. Like, you're a cool ass dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's what I was like, that was a badass interaction. Yeah. And dude, they're still friends till this day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was super cool. So I was like, I want that. Yeah. But I could not have a conversation with someone randomly. So like every time I was at Walmart, I would be with my shopping cart. I would make eye contact and I'd be like, super awkward. That's it. Yeah. And after I got comfortable with that, I started doing hey, or just saying something. Yeah. Not even like a question. Yeah. I was like, oh, nice shirt.
Just engaging the vocal cords.
Literally just
exhaling at the same time.
The electricity between me and just like getting it a little bit, just a little bit. So I would literally go up and be like, oh, nice shirt. And they would be like, thanks. And I was like, that was so easy. Wow. Yeah, look at that, dude. Like,
you're welcome.
Thank you.
I love you.
No, yeah. So like, it was really interesting because I went from that to smiling at people to a compliment or just hello. Yeah. To a question. Right. And the reason why I had this idea is because my friend in San Diego, he did this too, and he told me, he was like, do this and you will learn how to talk to people. Yeah. So After I got comfortable with just saying something, I started asking a question. I'd be like, what's the difference between these crackers and the crackers that you're looking at? Like, why should I, why? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? And the guy would be like, oh, you know, like, what I look at is the calories. Yeah. And I do that because I'm just trying to be conscious of how many calories I'm intaking. And I'd be like, dang, like, where'd you learn that? Oh, I'm actually a student at SDSU for, sports nutrition or whatever.
This is what a fucking bullshit this is. Yeah.
whatever scam you're involved
in. Whatever bullshit's got you looking at crackers.
And I'm like, dang, that's awesome. SDSU is a beautiful campus. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome. And like, it was built here, whatever. And that is how I started to learn how to have basic conversation.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I learned from school
100%.
or from, because like I said, I can go literally an entire day without talking to anyone and I will be totally fine.
Yeah.
So I had to go out of my way to learn this set of skills, and I probably should brush up on it again and just continue to do it, because I'll come to UTEP and I'll step out of my car, put my Beats on, go to my class.
Yeah.
Once my class is over, put my Beats back on, go to my car and leave. You know what I mean? And as much as like as easy as it is, you know what I mean, I should get out of my comfort zone and wave at someone, or you know what I mean, and just say hi to people, because you never know what connection you'll make.
Fake cup check somebody.
Yeah. Throw someone in a trash can. Give someone a swirly.
So right away, like a couple things that stood off to me about what you said was how you were just able to make conversations with people about like crackers and something like that.
Yeah.
That's super important, bro. So you're right. Communication and being social is a skill. And nobody teaches you how to do that shit, bro. Like, you got to teach yourself. Unless, some people grow up in really social houses, like really social families.
Yeah.
So you're just used to it, right? Like, I grew up in a house where I grew up in a family where I would go to a family gathering. There was a bajillion people there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to just sit there. My parents would be like, go talk to everybody.
Yeah, like
go say hi to everybody, and then go play with your cousins and do all that shit, right? Again, those are privileges that not a lot of people had.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people, because my family is, I have like 6 family members here in El Paso.
Word. So number one is putting yourself out there in a comfortable way, and it's in an easier way. For example, like how I was talking about Aguirre's brother, where like we weren't talking about him, we were talking about just something else that took him, like his whole like persona out of it. Like it was not about him, it was just about this thing. So it was a lot easier to have a conversation. You can have things to ease you into these things. That's how I started, right? Like I joined a frat. So like whenever I had a conversation with like 2 people at a party, there was 3 guys behind me that were also there talking. So like they would also ask questions that gave me some time to step back and like chill and like whatever, just listen for a bit and stuff like that. Now what you were doing was raw as fuck, bro. Like, that shit was that was it in the middle of it. You know what I mean?
And what I realized is, if it didn't go my way, okay, you know what I mean? It's
right.
Like, okay, I'm gonna take my card and go over here.
And just never talk to these people ever fucking again, bro. It does not matter. You know what I mean? Seriously. So not taking yourself very seriously is also a very good skill to, or just attribute to have, just a good mentality to have, and it helps you just not take yourself so seriously when you're in those conversations, because when you're relaxed, other people are relaxed. When you're sharing and asking people open-ended questions, they will also share. They will also. How do you feel about like because you didn't go to college like right after high school?
No.
You were in the military.
Yeah.
How does it feel to come back? Because personally, I feel like, changing the topic a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Yeah.
I feel like if I came into college at this age, I would be way different. Like I would come in with a whole personality built already. You know what I mean? Like, and I would be just super engaged with all the opportunities that are here in the university and stuff. So how do you feel coming back? Do you feel that way? Like, I know you said right now that trying to talk to these kids who don't even know who they are yet, but feel so old yet at the same time. Because I felt old as shit when I, like, my freshman year of college. I felt old. Like,
really?
Well, I mean, I felt like a kid, but also like I felt like I had something to prove. Like, now I was kind of trying to learn how to be an adult and stuff. I was in an adult university. Like, not everybody gets here and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, there was no content in my nugget, you know, no experience. You know what I mean? No experience, no situation that made me have to put my thoughts into words, because that's, you know, how you develop yourself, by hearing yourself speak and what you think and stuff like that. So how do you feel coming back? What are some experiences that you like? What are some things that you don't like? And just how do you feel about being maybe an older generation that came in as a freshman?
That's a great question, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
of course,
I could go on all day about this specific topic because
Yeah.
I live it every single day of my life.
word
Every waking day.
is a nightmare.
It's every waking nightmare, dude. I open my eyes and I have
I'm
to
like, fuck.
process the trauma of waking up. Every
word,
morning.
word.
No. It's a good time though. All jokes aside. I mean, dude, we're interesting people because when we're 18 years old, we leave our homes, our family, and we change our lives completely. Like from one morning we wake up and we're in the cafeteria in high school with our buddies and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our teachers, and you were having a good time, and 3 weeks later we're waking up at 5 a.m. after we haven't slept 24 hours and with our head shaved and
Yeah.
getting screamed at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
no more hot oatmeal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really, really is eye opening, man.
Word.
And I get this because my first experience with this ever was I was like, there's a whole world out there, was when I was in boot camp and this kid was like, hey, grab that and go over there. And I was like, fuck you. No, I'm going to stay here. And he's like, you don't listen. That's why I hate your kind. And I've never experienced that before. I've never experienced someone not having predominantly Mexicans everywhere. Because I grew up in San Diego and I lived in El Paso for, the better part of 8 years.
Chuco as fuck.
Dude, yeah, exactly. So, and I realized, I was like, damn, dude.
Tumbao.
There was only 3 Mexicans out of 90 people in the room.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And all these people are coming from like the East Coast, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is from New Hampshire,
who the
bro?
fuck comes
what the
from
fuck, dude?
Yeah, it's just crazy as fuck.
Yeah. And I mean,
Missouri and shit. What the fuck?
like being in like different countries is like a huge culture shock, dude, because you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy because there's this just like gigantic world, man. There's this huge world. And like, not only being in another country as a civilian, but being in another country as like a service member, you see when you're going through this part of the world called the Strait of Hormuz, you see it's like a city of oil rigs in the ocean, and there's just oil rigs everywhere. And when you're going through this, you're kind of like, you know what I mean? Like going through these oil rigs, and every oil rig has their own private security. So there's either like these, some of them are from the Taliban, you know what I mean? So like, so they have the speedboats and they're like following you with 50 cals. And I'm up on the flight deck trying to do my job, and this guy is like up with a fucking 50 cal, and I'm like, and it's interesting, man. I know, like, trying to like communicate, but no, I mean, it's interesting because there's these places of the world that you don't realize are like there. Yeah. And it's so much bigger than what you think.
It's just so dense. It's just all kinds of cultures.
Seriously,
I mean,
man.
everything that we just talked about are like getting to know people. Now imagine adding like geographical, like where people are from.
So much easier.
Where people came and stuff like that.
So much easier.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go into a storefront
Yeah.
in, let's say, Bahrain, which is in the Middle East, if you go into a storefront,
yeah,
you will be greeted with open arms. They'll come and sit you down, and they're like, can I get you tea? Can I get you coffee? And if you're like, oh yeah, I mean, I'll take a coffee. Yeah. One of the store owner's assistant ran next door to the coffee shop, got me a coffee. Came back, and it was a little small cup. And they sat down and they're like, where are you guys from? Wow. Yeah, dude. Before we even saw the shop, they bring us in and they led us to this table, and they were like, where are you guys from? Yeah. And we're like, oh, like American. Like, oh, Americans. They're like, wow, that's so cool. Like what part of America? And then like, I was like, well, I'm from California, and they're like, whoa, Hollywood.
No
and I'm like,
way.
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And they're like excited to talk to you, and I'm like, where are you from? And he's like, and I'm like, yeah, I forgot where he told me. I was like, that means nothing to me, bro. I have no idea where that is. But I was like, that's cool, man. And they'll sit down, they'll talk to you, and they're like, hey, finish your coffee, relax. After you're done, let me know if you have any questions. And then, so we finished our coffee, we finished our tea. These guys were awesome. And then we're looking at the rugs, and I was like, because they're like these beautiful tapestries, bro, like these Middle Eastern tapestries. Yeah. And they're like, here, like, let me take this one down. Like, look at this one. You're like, you like that color? Oh, I have these ones over here. Yeah. Like, let me show you. And they're like tending to you, bro. Wow. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I mean, it might be like a tourist thing, but yeah, it's like totally different over there, bro. And like for coffee, like I remember like the coffee, I don't know if it's like really big over there, but there's a bunch of coffee shops where I was at. Yeah. And like, it's like an art form over there, bro. Yeah. Like they'll like show you, and they'll like they have like the needles for the espresso. It's just like
it's less fucking processed.
I know,
robotic
like Starbucks
fucking,
and
fuck up your name and shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fuck up writing your name wrong. No, yeah, but it's just like it's crazy. You can get a suit tailored to you for $90 American.
Wow.
Yeah, and they'll take your measurements, and you get to pick the fabric, and yeah, it's really really cool.
That's
bro.
fucking cool.
For $90, bro.
Right.
Yeah, less than what it is to buy.
Bro. That's a steal.
I know.
First suit I ever bought was like $120, and that was a cheap suit.
Yeah, same actually. For like $150 at H&M. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I actually still have it, actually.
I got mine, and
it doesn't fit me.
And I got mine like 40 or 50% off, bro, too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would have paid a little bit more. That's so crazy, though, that I mean, I guess it may be a little bit of the tourist here, because I remember when I went to Mexico City, people would try to do that, but then they would just try to sell you shit.
Yeah.
They would just try to be like, fuck, which is, I guess, also something that you encounter when you travel.
Yeah,
I get it, too. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But that's cool, and
but like aside from that, you know, I'm like a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Driving around a naval base, Naval Air Station North Island, tugging, probably like more than $3.5 million worth of equipment.
Word.
You know what I mean? Back and forth, and I'm doing my job, and there's 4 people that I'm like in charge of. So there's 4 people. When I got out, I was
really, they let you be in charge of people?
That's what I'm saying, bro. But what's cool is like, since I was like, because I got out as like a NCO, like a non-commissioned officer. So like, you know, like I would be like, hey, like you guys are done. It's 1:30. Go home. You know what I mean? Like we're done. Go home. So like I had that leeway, and then I get out and I come to college, and you know what I mean? Like
a whole different.
You have this. Shebang. Yeah, exactly. You have this freaking, you know, this kid who's a TA giving me a presentation on how to apply for a job, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like it's cool, and I get that. And I'm glad that there's a lot of resources for kids who are 18 years old coming into college. Because if I came into college when I was 18 years old, I probably would have been dead on the side of the fucking road or something. 100%, or drunk. Because let me tell you, bro, like I would not have... These kids that are in my college, I look at them, I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed. Yeah. Because not only are they super studious, they catch on to things so quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I did not have that when I was 18. I would not be...
Hey, me neither, bro. I've been sandpapering through this shit.
Let me tell
you, bro. Yeah, like it's been fucking rough. Like I saw right away quick, because I feel like high school you can just kind of get through. I made it through high school. I don't know how. But there was a lot of times when like I had bad grades and I just didn't show up and like shit like that, right?
Yeah, and they'll push you through. Anyways.
They'll push you through. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember my last day at senior year when you had to get your paper signed, you had to get like released, to make sure that you didn't have any fines or like whatever. You had to go through like this long line where they would check if you don't have any books or fines or whatever. Right? Okay. I get to the last one, and like she's checking my grades, and she's like, okay, like you're good over here, you weren't good over here, but you don't need that class to pass, and like whatever. And I asked her, I looked at her and I was like, what if I did need that class right now, and I didn't pass, and I'm at the end of this line, and it's the last day of school of my senior year. Yeah. She's like, what would you do? And she like looked at me, bro, like, and she was like, we don't have to worry about that. But that wasn't like, that was, you know what's crazy about that is that wasn't a counselor versus student thing anymore. It was just a 2 people thing. Like, because I wasn't a student technically anymore. I was fucking leaving. Yeah. And she just looked at me, she didn't even want to think about that, bro. Yeah, she's like, dude. She was like, dude, we don't have to think about that. We don't have to worry about that. I was like, but it's important to me. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you'd make me repeat the whole thing? Like, what the fuck? Like, whatever. Anyway, when I got to college, dude, they do kind of like write everything down. Like, all the questions that I had, they were somehow, I was very surprised to see that they were answering all of my questions. Yeah. And they would literally be like, there's a lot of you right now who like don't want to ask questions. That's okay. You can ask me later. Yeah. But I will tell you right now, either you ask it right now or you ask it 3 years from now when you're like behind so much. And that was literally me. They were describing me, and it was so crazy that they just knew, especially here at UTEP, which is like they're trying to reach, you know, like a less educated population. Yeah. They just know that they have to walk you through everything, and it's fine. And yeah, you're right. Like these kids, but I was like, you could tell right away the kids that knew what the fuck they were doing somehow, and kids like me who did not know what the fuck they were. I didn't know what college was. I didn't know I thought it was like super high school. Like I didn't give a fuck, dude. Yeah. Especially when you're in high school in El Paso and then you just come to UTEP, because it's just kind of like the
same people, right?
Dude, they signed me up for UTEP when I was a sophomore in high school, bro. They just knew.
They already knew.
Yeah, they already fucking. I showed up and they were like, "What's your name?" I was like, "This." I was like, "What'd you sign up for?" I was like, "I don't know." Boom, boom, boom. They put my name in. They had all my information already, like all set, which is cool, I guess. Yeah. But at the same time, there was kids who already knew what the fuck they were doing, and they started off with a shebang, taking summer courses, taking notes for the lectures that were like super easy, but they were still getting hundreds. They got it down. Hundreds and all the easy homework. hundreds and all the hard homework. Like they were just into it. And I was like, first year of college, I can chill, lay back and relax and like whatever. But now those guys graduated on time. They got internships, they got scholarships, they got the GPAs that they needed for the scholarships and like all that good stuff. Yeah. So that's why I'm telling you, like, if I was able to, and I saw all that stuff too when I joined a frat, like, or a fraternity. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I joined a fraternity, it's one of the reasons why I didn't drop out, bro. Like, because I was like, I joined an organization at UTEP that literally harbors like the smartest students that there are, because really, bro, that's what you have to be in a fraternity. You have to have good grades. You have to be able to fucking put together or a fucking scholarship. Yeah. Scholarship programs for your own brothers. You have to be able to fucking put together fundraising programs. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, putting together like sponsors for an event, like doing all this crazy shit, bro. I was like, we were like 19. We were donating money to the ALS Association.
That's what it is.
It was a non-profit that we were doing, bro. And you're stumbling along the way, but that gives you so much experience in a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm like interested in your case, where like you came back to school and you kind of are way more developed than I was when I first came. So, you know, what are some things that you think are like, I mean, obviously hanging out with these kids is kind of fucking like hard in the tinker. But that's why I'm super interested in what you think, like what you see. What are some things? I mean, you joined a fraternity too. Yeah. Like, what caused you to join a fraternity?
So I think like one of the things that I know. Yeah. Is like things are.
One of the 5 things that you know.
One of the 5 things that I know, is you can't you got to know where you can put your energy and where you can't. Yeah. I'm not going to stay up late for an assignment that's worth, 3% of my grade when I can, get a good night's rest, go to work tomorrow, and then tackle it again the next day. Right. You know what I mean? Versus, I don't know, when I was 18, I probably would have stressed about everything. You know what I mean? I'm very, very conscious of my stress management. Super conscious of my stress management. That's like probably the biggest thing that's helped me. It also can kind of sometimes be my downfall because I'm like, I'm not going to stress about it. You know what I mean?
Fuck this shit. Procrastination.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. But I mean, joining a fraternity, I think mainly was to get connections. Yeah. Was to like, because I'm literally transitioning at the time, was transitioning back from not living here, not having any friends, any connections, any basically anything. Everyone that I knew when I was in high school. Yeah. Already graduated. Yeah. Is about to graduate. I mean, now they're definitely already graduated. Yeah. And they're, on with their lives. They have kids and, moving other places.
Getting a master's or something. Yeah.
I know, dude. Yeah. It's crazy. It's weird to see. And I'm like here now as a freshman. Yeah. And I have to like meet new people and create an all new network. You know what I mean? Which I'm glad I did. Yeah. And I mean, I'm kind of like on the fence right now, and that's another conversation for another day.
I feel like it's like how I was making conversation right now, where like even if you're going in the right path, like, it's still exhausting. Like, it's still tiring and still like doubtful. It's still kind of weird. You know what I mean? Especially coming from the military, which is a whole different environment.
And the thing about the military is like the community that I was in is such a deep rooted brotherhood, man. Like. Yeah. Like I will never forget the guys that I was deployed with. Like those guys are like my fucking brothers. Yeah. And like I can reach out to any of them and I could be like, hey bro, I'm gonna be in Colorado, and they'll be like, stay with me. You know what I mean? I haven't talked to you and like, maybe reply to your story here and there, but we haven't like really like hung out, and they'll be like, yeah, come stay with me, bro. Yeah. And I mean, dude, like that to me is brotherhood. Yeah. Brotherhood, and I have a very high standard for brotherhood and camaraderie.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, dude, and like I mean, like those guys are my fucking brothers. Yeah. And like it's hard to go from that to like to begging people to show up to like this thing, you know what I mean?
To org buddies.
Yeah, exactly. Buddies. Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, dude, like I'm stressing out. Let's go grab a beer. And they're like, nah.
I can't. Yeah. Like, I can't. I don't drink. I have a test tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, we don't have to drink. Like, let's just go do something.
Let's go hang out or something. Do anything. I get that, bro. So you were used to like such a bond.
Yeah, because we're all people from all around the world. Word. I have people from PR from the Dominican Republic, from Florida, and we're all in one place. We all don't have friends. We all don't have
I like
family.
how Florida and Dominican Republic are actually like really close to each other.
I know, like,
all over the place.
it's all like what's I don't
People
know.
from Austin, San Antonio, Dallas.
People from El Paso, Las Cruces, Alamogordo, everywhere.
People that went to Franklin, Canotillo, Coronado.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
No,
like
100%. Yeah.
People who we're all coming to this place and we don't have family there. We don't have friends there. It's a brand new place, San Diego, or in some cases like Guam,
right.
Or we're going to Thailand, or we're going to Dubai, and we're all like, oh, well, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And 25 years ago, that's probably how college was.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's probably how college was.
Yeah,
now it's just a little different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I don't know. Like for me, like when I was in the military, someone was having a barbecue. Everyone's like, "Hey, dude, we're gonna go have a barbecue Sunday." And if you weren't there, it's like, the fuck, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
why weren't you there?
What else?
Like,
what else were you doing?
What's so great about your time that you can't be at the fucking barbecue?
I can see that how that's like such a huge, just like difference, and how it might be a little bit difficult to like adjust to that. Because I would say it's a little bit harder for people. I've met people, like I said, those tough nuts to crack that even when they want to be your friend, it's really tough to get them to be that homie, to be that like we're close homie, where it's like, let's go get a beer after this, let's do this, like what, it doesn't matter what we're doing as long as we're doing it together.
Exactly. I mean? Yeah. And just reaching out. And now it's a little different, because now I'm just like, I got to the point where I'm like, I just don't reach out, you know what I mean? And I'm just like,
I mean, after you've been shut down so many times, you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah. I know that there's that 1 out of 100th time that you're going to say yes, but I've just been shot down 77 times and I'm just exhausted and I'm just not going to say anything.
You want to have a real vulnerable conversation, bro?
Yeah.
We can definitely have a real vulnerable conversation, because this is a vulnerable one.
Yeah.
Speaking about transitioning from the military to civilian life.
Yeah.
The military, and one thing is just, if you're going this direction, you're going this direction. You don't have a fucking choice. If you have a plan and you're going this way and someone's not going that plan with you, you grab them, you say, this is the fucking plan, get the fuck over it, get on track.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the fucking plan.
Yeah.
There's no discussion.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get shrouded in that mind. And the reason why I say that is when I was deployed for 9 months. So when the day I came back, I didn't have a phone. So I went to T-Mobile with my mom, and she was like, hey, he's on my account, he's going to buy a phone. I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a phone. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I'm here to buy a phone. Like my phone broke. I just need to buy a phone. And then he's like, okay, let me get your account number. And my mom was like, here's our account number, like whatever. And he's like, that's not an account number. And like, I remember looking at this guy, I was like, I'll fucking kill you. You know what I mean, dude? And I was like,
you think I'm here to waste your fucking time, bro? I want a fucking phone.
Dude, I know, dude. I was like, I'm going to buy a phone. So this guy kept going back and forth with my mom. And he was like, do you know what you're talking about? He, like, the T-Mobile like representative, I was like, dude, and I was like, dude, I was so shook, dude. I was like, get someone that can figure this out for us, or I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Like, I literally told him that, and he was like, sir, well, like, we have security here if you need to be escorted out. I was like, fuck you.
Like, when do I have to walk into McDonald's and beg them to sell me a cheeseburger?
Right,
bro?
dude. It was just the weirdest thing. So, and I remember I kind of made a little bit of a scene. And it's really easy to get wrapped up in that mindset of like, we're going from point A to point B. Get the fuck along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it did take me a little bit longer than I would have hoped to kind of get out of that mindset. Because not that I'm trying to get people to do what I want them to do, but you don't get people to do what you want them to do by yelling.
Yeah.
In the military, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, this is the task, that this is what everybody's pointed towards. You're right. And here there's so much freedom for like, so you get like attitude. You know what I mean? You get you get to show up to a place where they sell you phones, and if the motherfucker doesn't want to sell you a fucking phone, then he doesn't have to, and that could be severely annoying. Wow, that's such a difference too. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's, dude. I mean, and people can get really, really, really bad with this. Yeah, and I've seen it happen where people, their whole lives will get like intertwined in the military, and they almost can't live like a normal fucking life because they can't get out of this bubble which is the military, and you have to do what I say because I'm an E7. You know what I mean? So when they do go out to places and they're ordering, garlic garlic bread with extra cheese, and they don't have extra cheese, they're gonna flip their fucking tops. You know what I mean? Right. And the reason why I say it's a vulnerable conversation is because you've also experienced it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like fucking if I don't get my way here, then I'll get fucking upset. You know what I mean? And it's happened. You know what I mean? And you've seen it like firsthand.
Yeah.
And dude, it's a super weird like transition to get there, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nothing really fucking matters. You know what I mean? Nothing is life or death to get you from here to.
So you have seen people just get consumed by like just that mentality.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. All the fucking time.
Because I will say like when you explain yourself like that, that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Like that makes so much sense why you are the way that you are, why you're always a fucking dick, and like whatever, or the the times that I experienced it, like I see that properly. Yeah. But because I will say there's still I've met a fuck ton of people who were in the military, and they're also like, when I don't get my way, I think it's fucking annoying. I like when they don't get their way, just because if it's spoiled their whole fucking life to always get what they want. So then when they don't get their way, like whatever. So obviously when you say that, now I separate those two types. Now I see that there's two different types of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is people don't have the self-awareness to pull themselves out of that mentality.
Right.
I mean, it's like anything else. You know what I mean? Like if all you do all the time is, you know, go smoke weed with your homies, you know what I mean? And then now you got this girl pregnant and you got to take care of a kid. You know, it's like over here. It's like,
exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
You got to pull yourself out of that mentality and take care of your fucking
okay,
kids.
I was waiting for you to tie that together. Yeah.
That was a really outlandish example.
Smoking weed one day, all of a sudden this bitch is pregnant, and I was just like, okay. I was like, all right.
But you get what I'm saying?
Because I was like, I smoke a lot of weed, bro.
By the way, I have an announcement.
But I 100% get what you're saying. Yeah. That's super interesting, bro. Like I totally see. Like, I think it's funny when you said like we're trying to get from point A to point B, and in the military you're just like, I'm gonna drag you if I gotta fucking drag you, but this is what we're doing because the orders are so you gotta follow this or you go to jail. You know what I mean? Or it's treason.
Seriously. Yeah. Or we'll just
there's
kick your fucking ass.
Yeah. Exactly. There's actual consequences to what you're doing. But over here, like, I guess point A is I'm here to buy a phone. Point B is you sell me a phone because it's a place where you sell phones.
Yeah.
But it's not so straight line there, right? Because you have this guy who doesn't give a fuck. And it's even though you're trying to do something productive, which is buy a phone, you have to deal with this guy's attitude because he's not going to jail if he doesn't follow your instructions.
Exactly.
And even though you're both exactly, even though this is a place where you sell phones, that doesn't necessarily mean that this motherfucker has to sell you one. That's so crazy.
Exactly.
So just getting into that switch was difficult, and I guess I have seen like because I've had people like all the time. Like I remember we had this teacher in high school, and like he never missed a day. He was in the military. And like he never missed a day. And one time some girls behind me were like they were talking about him in the military. They're like, oh, because he was in the military. And then other girl was like, oh, that's why he's always like that. And I was like, what do you mean by that? I was like, what do you mean by like always like that? Just like punctual and assertive, like all that stuff. Like you're just saying that because he's in the military. I was like, you're just, you know, like stereotyping this guy when there's a lot more depth into why he does or why he is the way that he is. And so how sometimes some attributes can be taken out of the military and actually be productive. Like being a school teacher who's not always absent because they got hungover, you know, Friday morning and shit like that. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. So how do you feel yourself adjusting to it in a fraternal situation? Because in the fraternity, it's hard. You realize that in a fraternity, you can't just point your finger. Even if you have the right answer, you can just be like, this is what we're doing. Do this.
No, yeah.
There's just so many strings attached to everything that people do.
I would say completely transition, man.
Completely different.
I will not. Never, ever would I ever be like, listen, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
This is the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never, ever.
You gotta deal with people's feelings and shit.
Not in any situation, actually. Because, like, you can't. Yeah, I know because there's been some debate where we've both been like, okay, I'm just gonna give information. I'm just gonna throw information out there, and you guys do what you want with it.
And you see what catches.
Yeah,
you let me know what gets you going.
I'm gonna like incept a thought in your mind, and I'm gonna make you guys think that you came up with that idea, so that way, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like maybe we should, I don't know, eat our Wheaties in the morning.
That's that's actually a really cool trick that I got also. when I went to, you know, it's funny when you said that about like when that guy was like, that's why I hate your kind and shit like that, and you realize that they'd never been around like a heavily Hispanic. When I went to President's Retreat, when I was a president of fraternity, went to St. Louis, where they had the presidents of like all the fraternities of Phi Delta. They had all of them there. Bro, I could hear my accent when I spoke English.
Wow.
Yeah. JP looked Mexican.
I forget that JP's Mexican.
Yeah, everybody does, because here in El Paso, he's like a white dude. Güero, you know what I mean? But over there, like, so when you said that shit, I thought it was so funny, because I remember I'd be talking, and I could see the point where they were listening to my Mexican accent, bro.
They're like,
and they'd be like,
what are you saying?
Yeah. I was like, this guy's clearly not from like Wisconsin, or New Hampshire.
Wait, where was it at?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where Smino's from?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he is from Missouri.
Yeah. You know what's funny is they didn't let us go out. If you left, it was like $1,000 fine to your chapter.
Oh, not even to you. I remember something about that. Like, you told me something about that. Wow,
yeah, because they know, bro. This is fucking frat presidents in one place from all over the nation. Like,
taking over the fucking city.
Taking over the city. That shit is wild as fuck. But
yeah.
That's cool. I think it's cool that you have this perspective when you now like in college and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like now, like I know people will question it. They're like, I think I was at a bar and these two military dudes, and you could tell by the look at them, they had the high and tight haircuts, the grunt style shirts, and the jeans and the boots. Like you could tell, dude. Like you could profile them. Like, here, let me give you a military discount without even, you know what I mean? Like
I could tell too when I was like in when I worked retail. I could tell.
Yeah. Right away. Absolutely. And you would ask them like, military discount.
Military discounts.
You already know. And if like. Probably 99% of the time you could tell.
Yeah.
So these guys, they were talking about the military, blah, blah, and I forgot how I came in the conversation, but I was just like how I'm just now, oversized tee. I got rips in my jeans. You know, you don't
very out of uniform. Let me tell you.
Very non-regulation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I look like a young person. You know what I mean. So like people don't know. And I remember I was at Minor Palooza, and the Marines, they were like, "Hey, come do some pull-ups." And I was like
being like, what the fuck? Like, you can't do
they're like, come on, bro. Like,
come on, civilian. Come on, bitch.
So I was like, okay. So I went out there and I busted out like 13 or something. Yeah. And they're like, bro, like, wow, like that's fucking dope. And I was like, they're like,
for a civilian. Little did they know, like undercover boss.
I know, right? I'm actually the CEO of the company. No, but I was just like, they were like, yeah, bro, like, have you ever thought about joining the Marines? And I was like, no, I think I'm too old for the Girl Scouts. But there was 3 Marines there, and they were like, and I was waiting for them to laugh, and they were just like,
damn,
and I don't know if
bro.
they're like actually Marines or
ROTC.
ROTC. Yeah, I think they were. So they were like,
they're the most vulnerable, bro.
Yeah, bro.
They're the most self-conscious.
Because I know, because if I would have told the Marine that, he would have been like, fuck you, bitch.
He would have laughed. Yeah.
And they were just like, well, what do you mean by that? And I was like, and at that point, I got a little nervous. And I was like, I was just like, no, it was just a joke. They're like, well, what's funny about like serving your country? And I was like, bro, nothing's funny about, that's not what I meant, bro.
Nothing's funny about that. Let me tell you that shit, bro. Nothing's funny about that shit, bro.
You don't know how many times I fucking mopped the fucking deck, bro. Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. So did you tell them that you were military?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm a veteran. And they're like, oh, okay. They're like, well, that was going to be my next question is, did you serve? And I was like, yeah, dude, I fucking served.
I'm glad you didn't get to that stupid ass fucking question.
Dude, I know. I was like, bro, like,
because these are just some fucking pull-ups, bro. Like,
regardless, it doesn't matter. Even if I didn't, I would still call it the Marines Girl
bro.
Scouts. And then they started laughing, and I was like, fuck you guys.
Yeah,
you know
bro,
what I mean?
relax. You know what's funny that I was gonna squeeze in is I think you're right. Like that whole like you don't look like the typical military,
and I don't want to. Bro.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to.
But I feel like I don't know. Like that's cool. Like that's you developing a personality when you came out. You know what I mean? Experiencing different.
Yeah,
things. Because listening to Frank Ocean and Bad Bunny. You know what I mean?
Bro. Yeah. Like and it's weird because. It's easy not to, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's easy to make that almost your whole personality, you know what I mean? Because you can wear your grunt style shirts and your high and tight fades and, act all upright and shit. But nah, let me fucking turn that fucking shit up and shake my ass and fucking, you know what I mean? Act the fucking fool because I can, you know?
Yeah. I feel like, not to get weird, but I feel like you even get different types of girls than the military guys do. You know what I mean? Just because now you're just some guy with some experience and not, Yeah.
And I don't mention it. I rarely mention it. in normal conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I meet nowadays, they don't really even know
Yeah.
that I did surf. It's not really on my Instagram. If you go a little bit further down, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Or sometimes in your story you'll post something too.
yeah, like so it's like very nonchalant.
But I feel like that's the way that, I mean, I'm not saying that's the way you're supposed to do it, because obviously you have the right to make it your personality and stuff like that. Even if it might not be so enjoyable, you do, like, whatever. But I feel like that's a really cool way to have it in your personality, which is like, it's just
like a fun fact. Yeah.
Fun fact, a part of you. That's, if anything, I mean, to go back to Fight Out, that's how we recruit for Fight Out, right? Like, we don't recruit by going up to you and be like, hey, bro, do you want to join a frat? No. I recruit to you, or I recruit to you all the time, because you're just getting to know me. Like, you just get to know me. You know Lechuga's a cool guy. Like, you know this cool guy in your class that you talk to.
Do?
Like,
just kidding.
People say that. So that's how we recruit. And all of a sudden, you just find out that I'm in a frat.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you find out, like, wow, you're in a frat. Like, I didn't think you'd be in a frat. Like, you don't seem like the type to be in a frat. And like, whatever.
Absolutely.
And that's when you hook them.
Yeah, that's what like, ah.
For $400 a semester, you can be just like me, buddy.
Wow, $400, dude.
That's a cheap fraternity.
No, I know, but the reason why I say that is because
semester.
the whole conversation about how expensive dues should be.
Yeah.
$200 doesn't seem like a lot.
When you compare it to an like a social fraternity, yes, but what we were in, which is a business fraternity, it's very fucking expensive, simply because of the events and stuff that we were going through. For example, we have to do a lot of stuff with like the university, SCLC. We have to do a lot of. We have to put like homecoming parades and all that shit together. But we don't have to do that over there. So all that money gets taken out from the dues that people pay.
What would it take for you to teach me the handshake of?
For me to teach you
Delta Theta?
Dude, it would be 8 easy weeks of pledging.
No. But
8 easy weeks of pledging, and then you know getting.
What if I landed you a date with Madison Beer?
Madison Beer.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah, the girl that made out with that guy that sexually assaulted the guy.
Wow, dude.
I know my TikTok, bro.
Wait, I don't even know what that is. How do you know her like that? Or do you not know her as like a singer-songwriter?
Oh, never mind. I don't know who we're talking about. I thought you were talking about that TikTok girl who like made out with that guy while he was asleep.
Oh.
Yeah, and then people were calling her like saying that she was like she sexually assaulted him, and then she was like, no, I didn't, like we were making out, like whatever. She made a whole big thing.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
She got like banned from
okay.
TikTok. They know who the fuck I'm talking about. People listening to this know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Something very, very familiar sounds about that, because I think I saw someone making a TikTok of like, oh, when I fall asleep at so-and-so's party.
Yeah. I mean, it's in your community, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. No, I mean, I got to keep up with.
But here's the thing why I wouldn't show you, and why fraternal secrets are so secret.
Okay, tell me.
Like,
secrets. What is that?
Secrets.
Never. Secrets
are no fun.
Secrets hurt someone.
Yeah. Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Yeah.
So here's the reason why is because I worked my fucking ass off to get it. I worked my ass off to get that.
It means something.
Shit. It means something. Like I worked really. So
2 dates with Madison Beer.
You got it.
Right.
So that's really what it was. Like people don't think about like the hard part about being in a fraternity. Like we do a bunch of shit. Yeah, we party. We do a bunch of cool stuff. I mean, yeah, we totally party. You know? I totally go to parties every weekend and whatever. You know,
party all the time.
Party hardy. My life is a party. But it's just all the shit that I had to do, bro. Like I had to recruit 40 guys to join this fucking thing.
Well, you're the founding father.
Sure, not everybody has to do what I do or what I did, and what I'm gonna keep fucking doing. But it was just really hard for me. And then pledging processes for a lot of fraternities, it's different everywhere that you go, but some are very fucking hard, and some include hazing and shit. And so we don't really do that just because we were new, and there's really no way you can even haze somebody who's at the same level as you.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're just gonna tell you to fuck off. But now, like for the newer guys, there is an opportunity for hazing. But since we're so like, there's so much programming against hazing, so much so that if you even lift a finger towards somebody else and it can be considered hazing, it can get you shut down.
See, the thing about hazing is the Navy, we don't call it hazing. We call it rite of passage.
Yeah.
So when you're on a ship, when you're deployed on a ship and you cross the equator, it's a ceremony that you undergo. It's called the crossing the line ceremony.
Really?
Yeah. And so if you're a sailor,
yeah,
and you have never crossed the equator, you're what's called a WOG. And if you have crossed the equator, you're called a shellback.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get a tattoo of a shellback of a turtle.
Really?
Yeah, and there are a bunch of different sailor tattoos. Like these ones are swallows.
Yeah.
You can earn these by sailing 5,000 nautical miles. Wow. I am actually a shellback. So basically, once the ship crosses the equator, all the shellbacks just haze the fuck out of the wogs for a whole day. And then after the ceremony, they become shellbacks. And then the next time you're on a ship that crosses the equator, you can haze the fuck out of all the wogs.
So that's kind of what hazing is over here too. So we worked our asses off to get initiated. We had to do this, we had to do that, we had to do this, we had to do that. It was really fucking hard. And because you get you get the shake and all that stuff, like the handshake and all those signs and everything. You get it when you go through the ritual that you made it. So they show you the ritual and all that stuff. So then they show you how to do it and like how to identify yourself towards another. Whatever.
What does it look like?
You know what's funny is that when we all got initiated, motherfuckers were just talking about that shit out loud. Yeah, and I was like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like one of my friends, we were in the class and he's like, we were talking about our regional director that came down to like whatever. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, he did this in the ritual with me, or for me. You know, he did this one thing, and he just said it out loud. And I was like, and he was like,
nothing sacred.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ. So that's why I wouldn't show it.
I almost saw it. I think we were at a bar. In I forgot where we were at, but one of your brothers showed up, and I saw you guys do something at the corner of my eye, and I looked really quick so I could see if maybe I could catch it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I missed it.
Oh, shit like that happens all the time. When I was joining DSP, Fred was already a brother, and he knew the shake, and he knew everything. So you know Carlos? Remember Carlos Cardenas?
No.
Remember Carlos? He that one time at JP's house. Anyway, you met him. I'll
yeah.
So that guy was also a DSP. He joined DSP here, but then he left to UT Austin. Okay. So one time, me and JP went to Austin, and then I was rushing DSP, but I wasn't in yet. So then when I was over there, JP, instead of saying, hey, he's rushing DSP, he told him he's DSP. Instead of saying he's rushing. He's DSP. So he was like, oh, you're DSP? No way. So he did a handshake on me, and he showed me the secret handshake. And I was like, and when I didn't respond accordingly, he was like,
bitch, no, you're not.
He was like, what do you mean? He was like, I'm a brother. Like, he told me that. He was like, oh, I'm a brother, bro. I'm a brother. And I was like, bro, I'm rushing. Like, I'm not. He's like, oh, shit. He's like, don't show them that when you get back. Like, and don't tell them that. Don't tell anyone.
How is DSP in Austin?
A lot more active, way more active. But it's just it's a bigger organization. That's the thing about UTEP, bro. It's like, it's tough, bro. Yeah. So at UTEP, you don't even get to haze people, bro, because you couldn't even if you wanted to. People will leave. Nobody here is gonna go to a place to. Nobody here wants to join. Over there, like, they have freshmen lined out the fucking house to join. Yeah. People want to get involved. Here at UTEP, not really. They don't give a fuck. You have to convince them to join. How are you gonna convince somebody to join something that they're gonna get hazed and like whatever? So we focus more on professional development and developing you as an individual and shit like that, which is a lot better. But anyway, what my story was, I came back and I did it to Fred when I got drunk one night, and he told me, he's like, yeah, don't show that to anybody, cause they'll kick you out. If you already know it and they figure out that you know it, they're gonna be like, what the fuck, and they're gonna kick you out. They can use whatever excuse to kick you out if they want to. So you got to be really secretive about stuff. But it's really just like you said, like, how would you feel if somebody got a tattoo of a turtle shell and they hadn't crossed the equator? You know what I mean? They can do that. They can. But you'd probably get hazed even worse. People would fuck with you.
The thing is
because you're not following the procedure and stuff like that.
That's hard to get. Being a shellback is hard to get because they'll drag you through last night's chow. Yeah. Like, it's disgusting.
Exactly.
But now, for what you did and your handshake, it's hard to get. Yeah. You guys had to do something to get that. It's worth something. Yeah. That's something between your brothers. It's a code word. If you want respect, if let's say a fight out came from San Antonio. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm a fight out. And you'd be like, okay, you fucking say you know what's up, and then you're like, hey, come fucking join us.
100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now a DSP does that. I met a random DSP at a bar. Yeah. He did the fucking shake. Cool, the passcode, and then, cool, man, nice to meet you.
And then just dipped. Yeah,
took off.
Yeah, I will say it's more. It's not always as like tight.
No, yeah, but like and I get that, and it doesn't have to be, but it doesn't mean anything. And the reason why I say that is because if I was like, I'm not gonna join DSP tomorrow, they'd be like, no. Yeah. Like, wait.
Yeah.
We'll do this for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, bitch, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, no.
Yeah, so I guess it is different, but it's still like work that you put in. I guess over there it just kind of happens.
And when you pledged DSP, you had to interview every single brother.
Every single brother.
And you had to, that's hard work, man. That's hard. That's scheduling, and you have to actually study.
Scheduling out of your day, you have to keep up. I mean, just learn how to talk to these people. Not everybody was cool. Some people were cool, but not a lot of people were cool. So stuff like that.
And you had, when you took your quizzes, how was that? Was it like
you had to get 90% in all your quizzes?
They were online or
no? They were in person. Yeah,
dude, ours were online.
Yeah,
at home.
That's fucking cool as fuck.
Google the answer.
Yeah, recently the whole fraternal thing has changed, bro. Like everything changed. They even made pledging process shorter. They made tests not so important. They made it. They switched it so that they don't exhaust you during the pledging process because. Excuse me. What was happening is a lot of people join a fraternity after it was hard as fuck, and they're like, "I made it. I'm good." Then they don't do shit.
Okay.
I don't want to plan anything. No, I did my part. I did it. Maybe they participate for like a year and then they're done, because it was really hard. And now they make it hard for the next person that comes in. So what they're kind of trying to switch it to is to like, really your pledging process is like a tease of what the fraternity is. And so when you become initiated, when you become a brother, you're like, hell yeah, I want to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I have the energy and I want to do I'm active and like want to do this stuff. The thing is that the old kind of ways, when obviously either way you get all the secrets and all the handshakes and all that stuff. So a lot of people are just kind of upset of how hard you had to work to get all that stuff. That's pretty sacred. So some people get upset when you didn't have to work that hard to get that stuff.
Yeah, and I see it though.
Yeah,
when I pledged DSP, I remember at my initiation party, I don't even know who it was. Some guy was like,
you didn't have to fucking do whatever.
No, yeah. So there's a thing that if you say something, you have to drink.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
We all know it.
Yeah.
So if you say something and they're below you, or if they pledged after you, you have to finish your drink.
Yeah.
So he was like, some guy was like, and then I was like, okay, I finished my drink, grabbed another one, and then the guy behind him was like, and I was like, bitch, fuck you. Like, I'm driving, relax.
Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, and he was like, that's why you're not a real fucking brother. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
I was like,
quick.
Whoa.
Relax,
I was like, dude, it's not that deep.
That's why you'll never become anything in your fucking life, bro. People take it really fucking deep, bro.
That's why she left. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, fucking deep. And I was like, but he was like an alumni from maybe like 5.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it meant something to him. And to me, I'm like, you know what I mean?
It's also just like, for example, I met brothers when I would go to Phoenix and like meetings where like you get like 4 chapters come together and you just talk. There'd be chapters where like they tattoo their bond number in their fucking body.
What the fuck?
And then there's other chapters where like they don't even know their bond number.
I don't know what that is.
Bond number is so, for example, when
like
when you pledge, you're like a certain number, like that number of the fraternity.
I do remember the number that
So
okay,
there's like
and everyone has their own specific.
Yeah, so every chapter, let's say for example here at Fight Out at UTEP, we're like in the 300s, like total number of people that have joined, and it keeps going up.
For here at UTEP?
Yeah.
Damn, my bond number was huge.
Yeah, exactly.
But DSP's been here for a while.
Because it's been here for a while. So there's some chapters that they'll be like, I've met motherfuckers that are like, they're like 1,300, like 1,307, 1,308, 1,309. So that's your bond number.
You can tell me your bond number.
Yeah, mine is 205 here at UTEP. Okay, yeah, and that counts even after, because my chapter got shut. It started, then got shut down for 5 years, then it came back. Okay. So that even counts to those people. It's just silly things like that, but some people take them very seriously, and then some people don't. So it's just up to the culture of the chapter, and it's all different everywhere.
So what do you okay? Is joining a fraternity worth it at UTEP?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
it really is.
Here's my next question. You got to back your answer.
Yeah, of course.
Why though?
Because you become the leader of the university, bro. Like, you're the one that's pushing for social events. You're the one that's leading the way in making UTEP become a more social interaction filled place. Yeah. You're the one that's literally in all other organizations. To be in Fight Out, at least, you have to be a part of another organization. Really? You have to. That's a requirement. What the fuck? You have to have a certain GPA. You have to study.
What's the GPA?
2.5.
I mean,
but you'd be surprised.
No, mine's not too far high up above. Yeah, I think I have like 2.9 right now.
So you'd be surprised how, especially, I mean, don't get me wrong, when you go to other chapters, like I know other chapters that you have to have 3 or above. That's or 3.2 or above. Like literally, like I remember when we were all talking We went back to like, because I was still a colony at the time, which means I'm not an actual chapter. I'm trying to become a chapter.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, don't forget about the GPA averages like over there, because those people have been there for like a long time. So really joining a fraternity, you do pay dues.
Yeah.
Right. You have to pay dues because you have to do all this stuff. But I mean, we would put professional development programs as complex as like how to build an engineering resume for like Lockheed Martin and all those people to pay attention to you, with sometimes alumni from Lockheed Martin. Wow. Something as complicated as that.
That's powerful, bro.
So, to something as simple as how to tie a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we'd go back and forth. Whatever it is that you need is what we'll help you with. We would toss scholarship programs. Like now, think about it. You have one chair, one guy whose whole job all week is to look after your grades, or all semesters to look after your grades. And if he has any scholarship opportunities, he throws them at you. So now you're joining an organization where like every other week they're throwing scholarship opportunities at you, ways for you to make money towards your school. They're putting you in situations where you can talk to like Heather Wilson. You can talk to the I don't know how many administrators from ASU I fucking met, bro. Like just when I went over there and I was just chilling over there. Like it puts you in these positions where you have to develop yourself, where you have to become the best version of yourself to keep up with the way around you, and that you take with you everywhere. I stand out at interviews when people interview me, just because of the terminology that I use to talk about stuff, the experience behind what I had to do to put together an event as big as like our Iron Turkey event, which is a run that we make to donate to the ALS Association of New Mexico and to the Live Like Lou Foundation. That's up Phi Delta Theta. The things that I have to do for that, I mean, I stumbled and I fucked up so many times along the way, but still I got it done right with all my brothers. So all that stuff is just things that teach you, bro. Like they teach you how to do something as silly as have a professional conversation over the phone. For example, the interviews that DSP made you do with all the brothers was not only so that you got to get to know everybody, it was there was requirements to the interview. You had to send a professional email. You had to state your case of why you wanted to be in the organization and stuff like that. Some brothers conduct themselves very professionally. Yeah. Some brothers suggest that you wear professional attire. How to dress professionally.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
That's a huge thing. How to conduct yourself in the meeting professionally and stuff like that. Those are all things that you learn and you get exposed to if you join a fraternity. That's why I mean, account with all the partying and all that cool stuff. So
that's residual.
Exactly. That just happens. You know.
Okay, I mean? So here's the thing though. When you
are you not sold or what, bro?
When you reduce
you trying to fucking frat or what?
When you reduce the quality of your vetting process, you also reduce the quality of people that you get.
100%.
And the thing about tightening it is you also need to think about your numbers. How many people you're getting in? How many people that you are able to get in? Because if you get in 2 people every semester, people are going to graduate faster than that.
And
you know what I mean?
Your organization's recruitment is life. Recruitment is life.
It's
life.
It's
with
love, it's
everything,
life, bro. Yeah, seriously. So, but here's the thing. If I have an organization of people begging me to join their organization, that's a red flag, man. You know what I mean? And not necessarily saying that that Fight Out does that or DSP does that, but it's so easy to get to that point.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, that pushes people away so much, dude. Is when you look desperate for people to join. That's why recruitment has to be trained.
Seriously,
it has to
be. And I like your guys' take at that.
Yeah,
because
that's why we do that. That's why you have to join another frat, or not another frat, but you have to join another organization, bro, because you have to be well-rounded. Mm-hmm. You have to have several levels of input. Yeah. Because if you're just because if all of your recruitment comes from recruitment week, when you have to sit at a table and all these freshmen get cattled in with free pizza into one area, and you got to grab like hungry hippos or whatever. If that's what you're relying on recruitment, it's not going to work. You're going to get that. You're gonna
Case in point, man.
Yeah, you're gonna get. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get some really odd fucking balls. You're not gonna get the quality that you want.
Exactly, and man, like that's so true, man. That's crazy.
I mean, like I said, bro, we could have a conversation about this for hours.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
For real.
Yeah, literally hours and hours.
But I mean, I guess we made some pretty good fucking time, bro. And
what time is it, dude?
It's like it's about to be 4. Like 20 minutes to 4. We've been going for a minute, but how do you feel? How do you feel about this podcast episode? I
feel great, man.
Do you see what I mean when it's like sometimes it doesn't seem like a lot of time? but we have said like a lot of shit, and you like kind of. That's why. I mean, obviously, you'll be a recurring guest.
Yeah,
I'll have you on and shit.
I honestly feel so comfortable right now, dude.
Yeah, that's good, dude.
Now,
I'm glad.
Like in the beginning, it feels like there's a person right here. You know what I mean? So it is a little weird.
Like you have to, you're gonna have to make conversation. Like you're gonna have to you don't want those awkward pauses and you don't want all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't get interviewed often. You know what I mean? Or like True. I don't get
that often or like ever.
I don't get conversation very often.
I don't get to talk to a lot of people.
It's been so long since. Can we stay here? Actually,
I don't want to leave.
We never even talked about our fucking Cyberpunk 2077.
I know, bro. I know. I'm sorry.
But it's okay, bro. I have a lot of thoughts about it, bro. So it's definitely not gonna be a short conversation.
Yeah, 100%. And I will have you on again. Don't think that I won't. Yeah. Sure. I don't have that many people as a guest for I'm desperately trying to look for people, but I'm also not trying to seem desperate. You know what I mean? You know how it is.
Okay. But last thought to wrap this up. Where
please.
Where do you see this podcast going for you, bro? What do you hope to, aside from we kind of already touched on the aspect of what you want to talk about, how you want to make people feel comfortable, but what is the end goal for this? What do you want to take out of it?
Peak level?
Yeah, peak level. Yeah.
Peak level, I'm hoping for a cult following. Cult following of just some people that knew about this podcast. Because if I'm being honest, bro, I'm thinking about making 100 episodes before I get bored.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Before I run out of or I move somewhere or whatever. So I don't mind just doing 100 episodes of lettuce wraps, and at the 100th episode, that's it. I don't have to keep this alive forever. That was never really the point.
That's not the goal. Okay.
That was never really the point. And now, but again, what will I have in those 100 episodes? If I do it right, bro, the conversations that I've had here, I'll carry them with me forever, which is like a diary for me. They'll always be on YouTube, and I'll always be able to look back at them, and I'll be able to show people what we thought at the time.
Yeah.
What was going on at the time. That's why we need to talk. That's why I need to talk about more current events and shit like that. Yeah. So we can be what was I doing at the time? What was I thinking at the time? How did I dress at the time? How did people dress at the time? What was the equipment like at the time?
It's stuff watching that. The music videos from the 2000s. Bro.
Exactly. It's like watching that's why I make those music videos for my friends, because 3 years from now, when we're out of college and all this stuff, we're gonna look back at those videos and we're gonna see
be here, bro.
Honestly,
at the rate that I'm going, bro.
Probably me too, bro. Fuck. But that's kind of the end goal for this, a digital diary. That's why I was so interested in having the right conversations.
Let's say hypothetically, because we did mention sponsorship a little bit. Yeah. Let's say sponsorship does come out of it.
Yeah.
And you get money to.
Oh, that'd be so sick. That's a whole game changer.
Would it be something that you would continue?
100%.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I've always dreamed about having this be my job. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be super sick.
It could be, man.
Then I'd actually get to talk to some interesting people, like doctors.
Doctors and lawyers.
And shit. And I could ask them all these crazy questions about
let me tell you something.
It would literally be like Express React in my fucking podcast.
Yeah.
But
asking them about, you got $1 million asset right here, bro.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know that, bro.
Let me tell you why, bro. It may not be it yet, but one day. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, bro, I wish the best for you, bro. I think this podcast could be something awesome. I mean, you got some great resources, and like I said, bro, you're a great conversationalist. So, and what you have now, and I'm not that I'm trying to point your podcast in a direction. I feel that you could even meet people out of your podcast.
Really?
Because when you meet people that have, for example, and this is what I want to do with my brand. People that have a following, you can take them and talk to them and see what they have to say.
Word.
Almost like a conversation because you've never met them before.
Yeah.
And your viewers can get to know them. Their viewers can get to know them on a more personal level, so they'll come and watch it as well.
Yeah.
So it's like an interesting networking type of thing.
Yeah, 100%. I guess I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and plus that's like the raw conversations that you do want to have is like a conversation of getting to know someone, and they could be a really cool person, they could be the worst fucking person, but you got it on camera. And it's really fucking cool,
I'm always gonna look like the good guy because I'm the host, so whatever. And I edit this bitch too, so whatever.
The goal is to get someone to walk out of your podcast because they just got pissed off,
Word.
Like the Island Boys and
like
Jake
the
Paul.
Island Boys and Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, bro. Aspiring to new heights, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, bro. I really appreciate the kind words.
Man.
Definitely a lot of people have session like that off camera, but I'm glad that I caught one in camera. I really appreciate it. That means a lot.
Once the cameras are off, dude,
you're dipping, bro. You're out of here.
I don't want to hang out with you, bro.
But before we leave, what's drop your Instagram, drop your TikTok, and then a song that you're currently obsessed with, please.
Okay, so TikTok, J Park Lifts. Instagram is Alanis Jacob _ a song that I'm currently obsessed with. I have a couple, but I do want to highlight one. Is I really don't know how to say this word. I think I said it to you last time. Karmadame.
Karmadame. Okay.
Yeah.
By who?
Zoe. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really good song, man. Gives me like the Spanish Tame Impala vibes.
Wow, that's a very cool description.
Yeah.
Very fun to think about.
Very trippy, like indie music. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, bro. I'll go ahead and leave a link to all that stuff. Cool. And again, you will be back. Cool. Thank you everybody for watching, and we're done. Cool. We're out.
All right, dude.
That was fun.
Sheesh.
Hyped or what?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, is it a video or? Oh, it's a video.
Yeah, it's a video.
Yeah, Lechuga podcast, day 1 of 14.
I'd like to get some behind the scenes.
It's gonna be a 14-day series podcast.
I try to get you the. You see your head?
Dang, dude.
This is a fucking.
This is fucking sick, dude.
It's cool.